Welcome back to the Strategic Veteran. I'm your host, Adam Peters. And if you've ever faced uncertain crossroads where military service ends and civilian life begins, you know just how isolating that moment can feel. Our guest today, Logan Spiewak, is no stranger to that pivotal gut check moment. Standing on the edge of separation from the Marine Corps, dealing with harsh leadership, and feeling like support was scarce. For Logan, that transition was more than just a move out of uniform. It was a crash course in resilience and self-reliance. There was no guidance, no ready-made roadmap, just the conviction that whatever came next, he'd have to build it himself. Logan took that experience, the late nights, the doubts, the lessons in finding help when none seemed available, and turned it into a mission bigger than himself. After launching and running his own business, he channeled both his entrepreneurial grit and his firsthand understanding of veteran challenges into leading the Boots to Health Foundation. Now, as executive director, he's building the kind of support system he once needed, a network that empowers veterans to thrive, not just survive after service. Logan's story is one of determination, empathy, and real-world leadership, and today he's here to share how those hardest transitions can lead to meaningful new missions. So whether you're just starting out on your own transition or looking for ways to support, you're not going to want to miss the insights Logan's going to bring. Logan, brother, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me, Adam.
Dude, first question for everybody. Where did you grow up and what inspired you to join the Marine Corps?
Yeah, so I grew up in South Central Pennsylvania, and what inspired me to join the Marine Corps is when I was a little boy, it's so cliche, but I saw those guys in the dress blues, and I was like, man.
I fucking knew it. I knew it, dude. Every Marine, I'd say 95% of Marines that come on, it's the uniform, dude.
Dude, the uniform is just so different than everybody else. It's just so good looking. It's just so
good. It is. As an Army guy, I have to agree, dude. Our uniforms were shit.
They're pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie.
They really are. I do like they went back to the pinks and greens, right? So the old World War II style. I think those look better. The dress blues were okay. The ASU sucked, and the stupid pickle suit was terrible. I hated that damn green thing.
Oh, man. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
It was awful. It's just looks like you're wearing sweatpants.
I see the memes on Instagram about that. That's hilarious.
So South Central PA and the uniform is what inspired you to join the Marine Corps. Did you look at other branches?
So yeah, actually, Adam, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked that. So I have what's called a pyeloplasty surgery. Are you familiar with what that is, Adam?
I'm not, no.
So I only have one kidney that fully functions at 100%. I tried to join other military branches. Me being so young and naive when I joined, I actually wanted to try out for the Navy SEALs because you can, go to DEVs, you go to the program, that 6-month program, the prereqs for it. And they were like, hey, kid, listen, you need a medical waiver. So, I went through the process of before MEPS, the DEP, delayed entry program, to get a medical waiver. Got declined from there, tried the Army. And the Army did the same thing. They declined me, and then tried the Navy, declined me, then tried the Air Force, declined me. And I was like, oh, man, okay, so this is not going to work. And then finally I met this sergeant in the Marines when I was walking out of the building. He said, hey, kid, what are you doing? I was like, man, I just tried to join every branch, and they kicked me out. He's like, I'll take care of it.
I got this. Yeah.
I got this. Like,
sharks, man.
Yeah. He's like, so what's the problem? Like, I got this pyeloplasty surgery, and my kidney doesn't fully function, and I had to get a whole bunch of medical. You know how that is, Adam. A whole bunch.
I do. Yeah.
So pretty much, he pushed everything through, and that took about 7 to 8 months to wait for paperwork. So.
How did that actually affect you? Does it affect you physically? Do you have certain limitations, or was it just kind of a non-issue and you could get through everything you needed to get through?
So depending on what kind of training you're doing, it would have some kind of obviously implication to what I can do or what I can't do, what kind of stressors I'm in. So yeah, that's probably one of the reasons why. So I didn't get anybody else injured, probably. So
right. Well, a liability standpoint too, right? You become your own casualty kind of thing. So I'm glad you got to serve though, dude. So what was it like? You finally get into the Marines. How did you become an infantry guy? Did you just always? I know you wanted to be a Navy SEAL. So did you just always want to okay, that's kind of out of the cards, so I'll just go to the infantry, or did the Marine Corps say, this is what we got for you, this is where you're going?
So yeah, when I talked to my recruiter, I told him, hey, look, man, this is what I want to do. I love the physicality, like to stay in shape and all that good stuff. I just love pushing myself to, just until I can pass out in anything, right? I want to be challenged no matter what I do. I always want to learn. I always want to adapt. I always want to do things that I'm not comfortable with doing. I've always been like that. And I was like, well, if I'm going to do something, I want to do something that's going to challenge me, And I was like, well, if you're going to join the Marine Corps, they say every Marine's a rifleman. I don't agree with that personally, but anyway, I feel like I wanted to join and do something different, and do something difficult. So that's kind of what I picked, and the dude obviously loved that, made his job even easier for him. So
Right. Yeah, man. Never say no to making a young recruit an infantryman. I think that's Army and Marine Corps wide. I want to push back on you on that statement though, man. You did serve in the Marine Corps, so you have a better perspective on this. I think that is one thing the Marine Corps does get right is they send all recruits to, I think it's a month-long kind of just basic like infantry kind of similar school, right? Because of the whole concept, every Marine's a rifleman. I really think that the other branches should leverage that, man, because there's some soft skill MOS guys out there that just have no clue.
yeah, I was making a joke on that because a lot of the guys in the infantry would say, "Oh, not every Marine's a rifleman; they can't shoot." So it's just kind of a little bit of friendly banter. Let me clarify.
Yeah. I really do because the rivalry, particularly between the Army and the Marine Corps, like that brotherly love or whatever, that tough love that we give each other.
Right.
I'm willing to admit, I think that's the one thing the Marine Corps gets right. I also don't have the best experience with the Marine Corps. My second deployment for 16 months, I was with all of your MEFs. So first, second, and fifth, I believe, are the three. And I saw one of those twice because your deployments are so short. And man, when I was there with some of those units, some of the most disrespectful guys I ever met. Like I've never seen a staff sergeant tell a sergeant major, I'm not going to do something because we're a different branch, even though the sergeant major is in charge of this cop. You know what I mean? And so just some other experiences that I had with, being a young NCO, kind of just trying to help dudes out, right? Like, where we were at was high IED threat. We didn't have a lot of armor on the Humvees, particularly on the turrets at that time. And this young Marine was kind of just sitting up in the turret, just completely exposed. And I was like, hey man, like maybe I know you just got here, but maybe you should like not like ride that high in the turret because it's pretty dangerous. And he just looked at me and he's like, fuck you, I'm not a bitch, I don't hide the gun. And I'm like, okay man, like I tried to tell you. The story ends, man. About an hour later, we were going to scrape his body parts off the side of the road because they hit an IED, and he was way up, sitting on that turret, and it just blew him in half, man. So I didn't have the greatest experience, but I still have the respect, man. Like we were all there doing a job, and I know that's not like indicative of the whole Marine Corps, if you will.
Yeah, I would say, Adam, like to go off of that, I feel like there is a lot of there's a big ego, right, in the Marine Corps. I mean, you've definitely just talked about it. I mean, people in there have egos, so I can definitely foresee that. And honestly, that gentleman that unfortunately didn't take your advice, look what happened. So I feel like I feel like just in the military and the journalists, we're egotistical, and it's not good. It's really not good.
No.
So I agree with you on that, Adam.
Dude, so what year did you join?
2016.
So 2016, you did 2 deployments to Afghanistan. Give us a little highlight reel of how that developed you as not only a leader, but just how did that impact you as a human being on, 2 Afghanistan deployments? I mean, dude, I've got the same experience. I did 2 Iraq deployments before I turned 21. How did being an infantryman in the Marine Corps before you started to transition out, how did that impact you as a human and develop kind of your mindset and your leadership skills to go on and set you up for what you're doing now? How about that?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. Can I pivot before we get into that? Can I tell you kind of how I was before I went into the military to transition?
Absolutely, dude. Yeah, let's talk about that.
I think you appreciate this one, Adam. So, all right, Adam, I'll be quite frank with you. I was a juvenile delinquent. I've been arrested numerous times growing up. I've committed a lot of harsh felonies, to be honest with you, Adam, and been expelled from high school and all that good stuff. Adam, I did a lot of bad stuff, and I was hanging around people who ultimately, killed the lady over money. Like they robbed her, home invasion, all that good stuff. And so, by God's grace, I was not there, and was able to get myself out of that environment. But before I got into the military, I was kind of a drifter. Adam, made a lot of poor decisions and did not do what I should have done, and got myself into a lot of trouble. So me going into the military, Adam, to be honest with you, from having all those, records behind me was kind of like the only thing I could do, after going and doing juvenile and, pissing in a cup in front of my mother and all that good stuff. And it's true stuff, Adam. I was a bad boy. And, I didn't have really many options, Adam. I didn't know what else I could do. So
let's explore that a little bit, if you don't mind, if you're willing.
That's why I want to bring this up, because I feel like this is what people want to hear.
Yeah, man. So this is actually really good because I'm willing to bet there's something from your childhood that kind of led you down that path you were just talking about walking, right? Like, so have you explored that at all? Have you like kind of figured out like why you were doing that stuff? Why were you rebelling? Was it a bad home life? Did you have shitty parents?
Adam,
Did you?
I'll be honest with you, Adam. I grew up in a very disaster. I don't want to bash my mother and father because that's not my goal here. But my mother and father was a loving parents. Unfortunately, there were so many people in the house living, and there was only only one income, Adam. So we weren't. My mom and dad say we weren't poor, but brother, we have 6, 7 people living in the house, and we didn't have that much money coming in. You tell me, do we really have any money, Adam? I was wearing hand-me-downs and all this stuff till I was a young boy. I had 2 older brothers, and my brothers were very aggressive towards me. Just brotherly love, beating me up and all this stuff. But my brother got into a severe accident, and it changed him.
Mhm.
It didn't make him slow, but it just changed his behavior. He became very aggressive and took it out on me. So I was abused a lot by my brother growing up. I don't want to say that, but I really was, Adam. And
Well, what, and I think this is, I mean, so in my healing journey, right, to get over the things and outside of the military and the transition and all of that, I thought, and I talk about this a lot, that I had to deal with the combat trauma and stuff. What I really found through ayahuasca was that I was going to deal with a lot of childhood trauma. I relate to you a ton, man, because whether you know this or not, I grew up in rural Indiana, southern Indiana, so farm towns. So I could have very easily gone down the same path. Grew up in a broken home. I'm not going to talk shit on my parents. I've worked through those issues with my parents, just like you. That's not the point. But the point is we do have these experiences, and they do affect us in so many ways that we are unable to recognize right at the time, and all of that stuff. And so, you know, I was the oldest of three, so kind of a little bit different than kind of your situation. I wasn't beating up on my brother and sister, but also like because of how I grew up in a broken home and all of that, I had to protect my brother and sister, particularly from one of my parents. And I won't say, I'm not here to dime on my parents or relive all of that or talk shit. Like, it's just how life played out. And so if I'd have lived in a city, man, I probably would have been doing the same shit you were doing. Like, dude, I was moving drugs when I was a senior in high school because I didn't
yeah,
know
I
what
was
else to do.
the same thing, Adam.
It's like these experiences. I mean, if you really think about it, you didn't have any other option but to go into the military. I didn't like school. I did enough to keep my grades up to play sports. I also, I had enough issues at home that I didn't want to do anything to get in trouble outside of the home because I was already dealing with it at home. You know what I mean? So like, I guess it could have just gone either way for me, man. I'm just saying I could have walked the same path that you did. And when the military preys on people like us, we are the ideal people to come in and just, break down in basic training, brainwash, and train you to be who we want you to be. Channel all of that trauma and aggression into, in our case, being the best infantryman for the Army and the United States Marine Corps in the support of global war on terror, right? Like, that is what we were doing.
Right, that's what they want. That's what they want. They manipulate you and they turn you into something else. And honestly, Adam, I never thought about that, but brother, I mean, when I think about it, that's literally what happened. That's
Yeah,
perfect.
man.
That's perfect.
So
That's
just to
perfect.
help you, maybe that helps you kind of reconcile your past, because I know like thinking deeply about this stuff and looking inward is hard, man. It's really hard to relive that stuff, and just giving you a different perspective is all, man. Like hopefully that helps you and helps you work through if you need to work through some of that stuff. And so, dude, I think the military is, while they do kind of, prey, if you will, on that and turn us into what they want, it's also something that can save our lives, man. Like, there's no telling. I don't know that I would be here had I not joined the Army. I probably would have stayed in Poseyville, Indiana. I probably would have got addicted to meth at some point, or tried all the drugs, or got arrested for all the dumb shit I was doing, and ended up in prison for the rest of my life. And I will say that my mom says that to this day. She's like, the Army saved you from going to prison for sure. And I'm very aware of that, right? So it's just cool to get to relate to somebody, particularly, we were talking backstage, and there's a big age gap between you and I, but we still have a lot of similarities, man, in the way that we were raised and how we grew up and the challenges we face. So I just think it's awesome to be able to have this conversation with somebody and then later put this on the internet for other veterans to see, like, hey, man, like, I know you feel alone in what you're going through, but like, here's 2 guys with a 14-year age gap that went through very similar things.
No, yeah, I mean, Adam, I mean, that's beautifully said. I mean, I don't know how else, I mean, I really can't add anything onto that. Yeah, like
So
that, to me, that was like my escape from where I was. I honestly was trying to do everything I can to get away, from
yeah,
that
for
from that
sure.
from that environment, just to escape. And then I did not know what kind of can of worms I was opening up when I joined. You know what I mean? So
So having said all of that, how did the Marine Corps kind of reshape you as from that delinquent to I mean, what I would say, dude, you're doing beautiful work with your business and all of this. Like, I would say that you are now a net positive to society, whereas before you were a net negative on society, right? Like, that's a fair statement.
I'm not gonna lie, I was definitely a heathen. Definitely a I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. Yeah, I honestly, to be quite frank with you, you know, who I was, what I became, and what I'm doing now, man. I mean, man, divine human cooperative. You ever heard of that before? I mean, that's God has definitely spared me, Adam, and it sounds like He's done the same for you. But going back into the military, it definitely gave me the structure, discipline, and leadership principles that I needed to succeed out here in the civilian world. Honestly, like you said, Adam, coming from different environments and going into different places. Unfortunately, Adam, as well, there there was some negatives and some contingencies while being in the military. So let's talk about PTSD real quick, Adam. I had gentlemen who have deployed in my unit, combat vets, multiple rotations, and they didn't never got treated for their mental health while they were in. So these gentlemen, suffered from that, and they took out their frustrations on the younger Marines, aka myself, and they suffered, from drinking alcohol, and they became very aggressive. And I'm not going to bash them because I'm not going to mention any names, but definitely is not a good. It was definitely not a good environment, Adam. Like I said, I got hurt. They thought I was faking an injury, and I had to deal with the repercussions of that, and kind of had some a little bit of tension between myself and the unit because of that, and it was not good. Adam, I'm sure you've heard stories before. I've heard stories about this stuff all the time. It's more common than not. I'm surprised, to be honest with you, but
Well, I'll tell you, Logan. Like,
since it is June, men's mental health does matter. Men, you need to go get your mental health checked. Veteran or not, you definitely need to get your mental health checked. You got to get that checked. I 100% advocate for that because I live with it. I dealt with it. I had people in leadership positions high up in the military calling me on the phone and telling me they were going to blow my fucking brains out. That is verbatim what happened. And Adam, you can cut that out, but they definitely they called and would tell me what they were going to do. You know what I'm saying? Like verbatim for
well,
days and months and months and months and months on end. I'm 18, 19 at the time.
yeah.
I'm not a victim. I don't ever play victim because I'm a man and I stand on my feet. But man, I tell you, that definitely got to me after a while, bro. I'll be honest.
Well, no, Logan, I'll tell you, man. Like, there's a good chance that there's a version of you talking like that about me. Now, I would never call anybody on the phone and threaten to blow their fucking head off. That's not it. But
I
just
wasn't saying
going back to what you were saying about guys, because you came in 16, right? So the war is winding down, and you just said multiple rotations, right? I did 4 myself. The thing, and this is not to make excuses because there is no excuse for treating people that way or being like that. However, just to explain it to you, what was probably happening is the same thing that I saw. I saw senior leaders struggling with mental health, because I did get to my first unit after they came home from the invasion, and then I was deployed every other year. I saw them struggling with mental health, and then I'd see them go to get help, and then I'd see their careers get ended. So now you've created this system where I need help, but I know I can't go get help because I'm going to lose the one thing that I have, right? That's not to make excuses for what's going on. It's just kind of trying to explain like how these dudes ended up that way, right? So when you can't go get help from a professional for the things you're going through mentally, what do we all do? The culture in the infantry, military wide, is we are drinkers. Like you think college frat houses can drink? Come to an Army or a Marine Corps infantry barracks. I promise you, we will drink all those guys under the table. Well, it's fine until you have some issues going on up here, and then you start using it to escape, and then it gets out of control, and then it leads to shit like what you're talking about, man. Like calling young privates on the phone saying, "I'm gonna blow your fucking brains out" for absolutely no reason. Like that's ridiculous, dude. And there's no excuse for that. But at least I can try and explain what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Adam, you're right, but it's a double edged sword. It's unfortunate because you want to get help, and the system's against you getting help, and they tell you not to get help. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
I do.
it's a terrible, it's a terrible, terrible thing. Honestly, the system is set up for you to fail. To be quite
It
frank, because
it
these guys,
really is.
because Adam, a lot of these guys, a lot of these, and I had a really good relationship with my unit. I, very friendly, very personable. I liked PTing. I was great at PTing, doing all my, classes, no problem. But then just all of a sudden it just crept in and then just got really dark. And this guy was just, man, I'm telling you, it was crazy. If I would have known Adam, to be quite frank, that's how my time would have been and what would have happened after that. Never
You
would
want to go? Yeah.
Never would have joined. Never would have. I would have said, "Mom, I'm gonna go. I'd rather go work at McDonald's. I'd rather go flip burgers. I don't want to. Why would I want to be around that? Nobody
Yeah.
would be around that. Nobody."
So I'm guessing, we're going to move into your transition out and the struggles you went through and all of that. I think you did. Did you do a total of 3 years total?
Yeah. Yep.
So 3 years total. So I'm willing to bet that was a huge influence on your decision to leave the Marine Corps, right? It's just the way you were being treated, the leadership, all of that good stuff.
Well, that and like they thought I was like lying about a lot of things in my own personal life and all that stuff that was going on. I was just like, dude, this is crazy. Like, I'm not here trying to make enemies. I'm just here trying to get my life back on track, fix myself, and be like you said, be back in society and succeed. And dude, that did not go the way I planned it to do.
It never does, man. And just to be quite honest with you, we were in completely different branches. I got out a year before. Well, I don't know, depending on when you joined in 16. I was out November of 15. That's when I was medically retired. The writing was on the wall for me. I saw a lot of big changes coming, and like I was treated kind of the same way you were, man. Like, I had torn my shoulder after 4 deployments for almost 5 years of combat time. I had had 2 surgeries. I couldn't keep up with the 18-year-olds anymore. And dude, they sent me to range control, which everybody knows what that means. It's a great gig when you go over there, but like, your career is over. And I was a pretty highly respected leader in my unit, my last unit when I was getting out. And so much so that I would go back to the company to check in with First Sergeant every now and again or whatever. And I would have team leaders, squad leaders, some of the platoon sergeants were like, dude, do you really have to get out of the Army? Can you come back here? We need help, right? Kind of thing. They just outcast me, dude. They forgot about me. It's like I never even existed. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like everything you just did. See ya.
Yeah, like, hey, thanks for coming, man. Here's a T-shirt. Yeah, like, bye. So when you decided to get out, did you have a plan? Did you know what you were gonna do, or were you just fucking your way through it?
Fumbled my way, like just didn't even pick up the ball. It was bad, Adam. After that, and like, dude, they thought, dude, I've heard some crazy stories, Adam, on here, and like some people will relate to me. It was just bad. Like, I just got hands off. They don't care about me anymore. So at that point, I was like, okay, well, what can I do? So, okay, I got an honorable discharge. Amen. Thank the Lord for that. Other than that, don't really have any work experience. Other than that, what can I do with it being an infantry guy? Nothing. Like, what am I going to be? A rent-a-cop? Or am I going to do security at a mall? I don't want to do any of that. I'm still young too. I'm 21, 22 now. Right. I'm young. I'm like, dude, my whole life is ahead of me. And to be honest with you, Adam, I started to go back down in my old path and started making poor decisions again and started drinking heavily and this was around COVID and all that stuff too. So trapped into place, couldn't do anything. So this was just prime time for me to just like
destroy yourself.
Yeah, I just got derailed. I was like, dude, this is bad.
I know we're laughing about it, man, but I don't mean offense by that. It's just I relate so much because I did the same thing in 2015. Like, I didn't have a COVID. I just locked myself in my apartment and isolated myself and drank myself to death, basically.
Yeah, I got fat, drank, did all that stuff I shouldn't do. And I was like, dude, I can't. What am I doing with my life? I'm like, I don't know, man. To be honest with you, I thought about killing myself several times, all that good stuff. I'll be quite frank. I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm 21, 22, having all these problems, and I got more personal issues going on in my life. And I'm like, dude, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm like, no hope, no future. So this is where the story gets good, man. Everyone loves an underdog story. Started going to the gym, Adam. I was like, dude, I got to get back out there. Like, I can't. I'm being a POS right now. I'm going to be honest. Like, I can't. That's not right. This isn't who I'm supposed to be. I got so much potential. I know it. Started going to the gym again, Adam. Restrictions, everything started coming off. Started going to the gym, getting back on my feet. COVID's pretty much behind us. you know, and that was my escape, right? Adam, some people drink, some people smoke, some people vape, whatever the case may be. My escape was going to the gym. I don't like doing drugs. I don't like drinking. I don't like doing any of that stuff. I'm not saying I don't judge other people for doing it. That's your life. That's your body. You go ahead, do what you want. Me, I don't touch that stuff. I wanted to go to the gym. And I would go to the gym, escape reality. You know, that would give me a dopamine hit, Adam, and make me feel better. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of like in the military, you get that PT, you feel good after you sweat.
Well, it's proven that it actually improves mental health, and it's one of my 5 pillars of things that you need to do to have a successful transition. And to your point, when we get out, the first thing that goes is PT. We stop doing PT, and then what happens? We get fat. Like I did it, dude. I blew up at my heaviest, I think, and I don't have this the confirmation number is 311 pounds on a scale logged in my phone. I know for a fact I was probably closer to 330 at my heaviest. At my heaviest.
Bro,
330. Yeah, bro. Back.
how tall are you, Adam? Like
6'3". 6'3".
I mean, that's not bad. Like if you were 5'10".
Well, I'll tell you, Logan, dude. So this is the trippy part about that is you are around people, your friends, family members, not so much my family. My family was trying to tell me subtly that I was blowing up and getting fat. My friends would tell me, you're really not that fat, dude. Like I'm just a big dude, right? Like I'm a big dude. I go to the gym and put muscle on like crazy, just genetically gifted in that respect, right? So I carried all of my weight in my stomach. So my arms were still pretty toned. I got big arms, right? Like it's not, you can see that.
You're pretty massive, dude. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. But so that is a mind fuck all by itself because you have your friends who aren't necessarily like, they're not saying that you're not getting fat, but they're also not saying that you're fat either. And then you're looking in the mirror every day and you see yourself every day, right? So you're like, oh, I'm not that fat. You know what I mean? Like I'm not that big. And then when I started losing the weight, because I lost over 100 pounds, I actually just weighed this morning. I'm feeling off. I'm preparing for another trip to Peru. And so my routine's all screwed up, but I'm at like 218 right now. Like, so yeah, for sure. I live somewhere between 215 and 225, depending on a lot of factors, how much I eat, how much, I go to the gym, how much water I take in, you know how that shit works. And so,
Right.
so, that is the mind fuck with the physical fitness part of it. And one of the 5 pillars that is a key to a good transition is that you have these influences in your life that aren't necessarily like helping you overcome, the destructive behavior that you're, doing to yourself. And you just get stuck in it, man. And I probably weighed over 300 pounds for well over 6 years, if I had to guess.
Dude, that's insane. Right.
It's dude.
Because those kinds of friends too, Adam, are the ones that are going to destroy you, and you don't even know it yet. You don't want to be friends with people like that. For anybody do not be friends with people like that. They encourage your behaviors. No. You don't want to be friends with them because they're going to drag you down. Cut those people out, man. I'm telling you, that's deceptive.
I'm not going to say that at all. They weren't encouraging the behavior, but you just kind of get sucked into, let's go to the bar and have a couple beers and let's get some fried foods and like just not being mindful of, how you're treating your body and, the distractions. Let's go shoot guns instead of go lift weights or something. You know what I mean? Like dumb stuff like that. Like just not being around people with the attitude that I needed to get back in the gym and get in shape and see what, I'm on this whole thing now, dude. I just turned 40 last month and I want to see what I'm capable of. What can I do with my body? How strong and how yoked can I be at 40 years old? Like let's just see, man. Like this is like, why not?
Are you taking any supplements or are you just doing all natty? What are you on? TRT? What do you
TRT for sure. Yeah, dude, my numbers were so low. I did a podcast with my prescribing doctor, Alexis Benjamin. She's amazing. A few episodes, I think, came out earlier this year. And my numbers, I think, at their lowest would creep down somewhere into the low 200s.
That's so low, Adam.
Yeah, man. So again, not trying to make excuses for my behavior and all of the, the weight gain and all of that and not PTing, but like there were some physiological reasons, I think, that contribute to that. I know there are several studies, ongoing studies and some completed studies for combat combat MOS, combat veterans, and kind of what that living with that level of adrenaline and cortisol and all of that through multiple deployments, how it does wreck your testosterone production and all of that. So am I natty? No, I'm not natty because I'm supplementing with TRT, but that's it. It's just TRT. It's a pretty standard dose. It's not anything crazy. So I think my numbers are somewhere between.
Yeah, that's good, Adam, though you're doing it clinically because a lot of guys don't do that from a clinical. They just go out and buy it, and it's like that's the worst thing to do. I tell everybody they're going to take anything, at least be clinical about it because
Oh,
that's
for sure, dude. And it's awesome. It's been a cool journey too. I'll tell you, Logan, because I do blood work every 3 months, 3 or 4 months. I can't remember. So it's like 3 or 4 times a year. And it's been really cool since I started it almost 2 years ago now to just watch me reverse all of the negative side effects in my blood work. Like my cholesterol's way below, what it was before. When I started, they said pre-diabetic. I think I was probably diabetic, dude. Like just
when you were 330, yeah, you're probably diabetic for sure.
100%, dude. No way. But just watching all those numbers come down and seeing like those naysayers, like, the TRT is bad for you and it's not healthy and you can't do it long term. It's like, well, if you do it the right way under supervision of somebody who understands how this works physiologically and studies this for a living and understands the blood work, it's like, I'm healthier now than I probably ever was when I was in the Army.
Well, Adam, to your point, since I've helped so many veterans at this point, like you said, a lot of the guys that do have PTSD and suffer from a mental health disorder from the military, a lot of these guys are more overweight because of what you said, that cortisol and that stress environment they're putting in. So their brain is constantly firing this off.
Yep.
So it's causing weight gain. So yeah,
again, the other, I think something that helped me even more, I'm not just on the testosterone, but I do 1 cc of vitamin D intramuscularly every week. That has been the absolute game changer because vitamin D, we're all deficient in it. I don't care who you are. Like 90% of Americans are deficient in vitamin D. I even live in Florida and I'm outside a lot. And so it's sunny here. You would think I would get enough vitamin D, but I just don't. And so I can notice not too long ago, the pharmacy that compounds it with the testosterone, so I only have to do 1 injection, they stopped compounding it. So I had to wait to get my new supply of vitamin D. And so I missed it for like 2 weeks. And I noticed all the mood stuff and kind of the
Dude,
brain.
that's awesome, Adam. Yo, that's sick though. See, bro, I love hearing stuff like that because these guys, bro, I love that honestly. Like, cause bro.
Anyway, I know we went off on a tangent with that, but I think it's all relevant, man, because you experience the same thing when you get out, stopped PTing. And dude, PT, I really genuinely believe fitness is the key to just living your best life, truly. Like if you integrate some kind of just movement of your body and man, do you know how I lost 100 pounds? I fasted and all I did was walk. I didn't go to the gym. I didn't run. I didn't do pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups, any of that. It was literally just the same routine every day. As soon as I get up, socks and shoes on, put my glasses on, take a leak, strap the dogs up, out the door. I started at like 2 miles, then I would increase to 3, and then finally it was 4.1 miles every single day, 7 days a week for probably 9 months.
Dude, but Adam, honestly, bro, round of applause to you, Adam. I love that, bro. Honestly. I love that. I don't care. That's awesome.
Yeah, but dude, so let's get back to your story. This isn't supposed to be about me. I think it's all helpful. And so when you transitioned out, you didn't have a clue what you were doing. You started gaining the weight. You were drinking yourself to death. Made the decision to get back into fitness. Let go of the drinking and the other substances and all of that. How did you end up on the entrepreneurial path? What were the steps that you took? How did you find interest in different things? What were you looking around at and kind of seeing opportunity in to help get your life back on track so you could have a good career or, become an entrepreneur that you eventually became?
Yeah, so thank you. So like I said, I was going to the gym and all this good stuff. And this whole thing transitioned, Adam, because I met an older man at the gym. I thought he was poor and I bought him shoes. And this shoe changed my life. This gentleman led me to my faith journey, kind of mentored me and discipled me and really took me under his wing. And, he kind of opened my eyes to what I was doing for so wrong by sharing the gospel and all that good stuff with me. And, from that point on, it just, like I said, by the grace of God, I've been able to put together this program. And I always thought, man, I'm out the military now, and I honestly, Adam, thought I was going to make it a life career. Like I was like, that's the kind of guy I wanted to go transition to OCS, do that. I was like, dude, I can do this, no problem. OCS, be an officer, get out as a lieutenant colonel, no problem. That didn't happen. And I was like, well, what can I do? I was like, dude, I struggled so much, and I didn't even do all the crazy stuff like everybody else. And sometimes I wish I did. And I'm like, what can I do to help these people out? Because I know if I'm having these personal struggles at such a young age and being all over the place and just running aimlessly, it's like, what can I do to help these people? So I'm like, let me think. So I'm like, all right, first I got to come up with a business plan. I got to come up with an idea. I was like, well, love the gym. Who doesn't like going to the gym? Veterans love the gym. Once they get back into the gym, they love it. I was like, okay, so I'm going to start this gym. So I started and found this spot, essentially bought all this equipment, all this stuff on a limb. Adam took out so much loans and debt, trying to just go for it, brother. I shot the pistol, and I just went for a wing. No name, no nothing, no clientele, no veterans, no community network, no partners, nothing. Adam,
no experience, no marketing experience, just no nothing. You just shot your shot. You're like, I'm going to do this. I'm committed. This is interesting, man, and I really want to dig into this part of it because I talk to so many veterans who are like, first of all, they didn't know that being an entrepreneur is an option because, let's be honest, TAP doesn't educate us on that. They try to force their own blanket solution on us with use your GI Bill, get a degree, you're a veteran, everybody wants to hire you, make six figures, congratulations, you're successful. That doesn't fucking work for everybody. I don't even know that works for anybody. So how did you accept that level of risk, man? Like, you didn't know anything. Were you just in a point where you were like, you only got one life, fuck it, I'm going to do this. And if I fail, I fail. And like, I've been through harder in my life. So, if I lose $250,000 in debt and I have to pay that off for the rest of my life, at least nobody can say I didn't try.
Well, pretty much. I was like, well, listen, Adam, I mean, like I told you before, getting up to this point, I've done a lot of bad stuff. Not proud of, by the way, anybody watches this, I apologize. But the point is, dude, I got nothing to lose. What's the worst thing that can happen? So I went for it, and I was like, dude, I started too, Aaron. I was 22. I was like, I got no kids, no wife. I was like, this is the time to just do it.
100%.
And I'm sitting here and I'm like, dude, when I'm 70 or 80 on my deathbed, I'm not going to say I wish I would have been more safe. Because, Adam, at the end of the day, like, no offense, brother, me and you get off this call, you go outside, you get hit by a bus, or I go get hit by a bus. You just don't know. Life is so unpredictable. I know so many people who have died by accidents or by drinking or whatever the case may be. But I was just like, dude, I got to do something. And I was like, I know that I can help a lot of people because people resonate with what I've told you today. And I want to help these people, especially vets, man, because these people, in my personal opinion, still get the underserved and they do not get all the benefits that they should be getting and all that stuff. And we're helping all these other people. And to me, it's still disgusting. And I'm just trying to do everything I can from a grassroots and local level to help. So, I just went for it, Adam. No regrets. And I'd do it again, to be honest, 100%.
So how did that pan out? How was that experience? You take out the loans, you find the spot, I assume you get the equipment because you can't really have a gym without equipment.
So yeah, I got everything situated, got the thing, came up with a name, got the LLC. So I started a business at first, but then I transitioned into the nonprofit sector because I wanted to make the program free for vets because I know a lot of the people that we service are lower income, financially destitute, and I want to help them get the services that they can get to help benefit themselves because I want this program to be more accessible. So Adam, honestly, man, just grinding out 80, 90 hours a week, and that's just been my new normal for the past 4 years. And honestly, man, to me, it's not work, Adam, because I've learned so much from talking to people like you, Adam. Had so many opportunities to connect with other veterans, learn more about them and their needs, their health needs, what it was like for them. I mean, I've helped people as young as myself and as old as in their 70s and 80s, and man, it's just been a blessing, Adam, just to been able to, like you said, have a net positive in the community and been able to get more people involved and just continue to support those and be there for people that I wish I was there for. Like I wish I was around when I was like myself, and hopefully, just keep connecting with more vets. Hopefully, veterans, Adam, reach out watching this and want to come to the gym, get personal training, get free programming for them. Because, man, that's what it's about, Adam, to be honest with you, at the end of the day. As long as I can keep helping people, man, that's cool with me. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to be a trillionaire, billionaire. As long as I can keep helping people, keep making the right decisions. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to screw up more and more and more, but that's what life's about, man. Just praise God, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
That's
with you, man. And dude, the silver lining is like you get to be in the gym every day. Like that is your job, is to just run this gym and be around fitness and keep yourself fit, help other people get fit. And to your point, man, it's not about making the money. I've learned that over the last 2 years building this brand and this show and just helping as many. I wanted to be the same thing, right? Like the guy I didn't have when I got out. That is how I started everything. I just want to be the guy I didn't have, give the knowledge, share the mistakes I made so you don't have to make the same mistakes, give you advice on how you can avoid those mistakes. So in this venture, how did you start learning the business? Like, did you have success early when you opened the gym and then people would come in and give you advice? Hey, you could do this better. Let me mentor you. Or what did that journey look like? Because when I talk to veterans and I introduce them to the thought of, it's 2025, you have unprecedented access to technology and tools that can just they can propel you into the stratosphere with whatever idea that you have right now. And so, they don't even know where to start. And you just started. And I think that's the important part. You just took an action. You assume the risk and like, I'm going to do this so I don't regret it when I'm on my deathbed, 80 years from now. But how did you actually learn how to build this thing and make it become a success?
Yeah, so Adam, honestly, going back to what I said, that old man who mentored me, he was a theologian first and foremost, but he was also very good at fundraising and building businesses. This gentleman he had 40, 50 years of business experience, and everything that was applicable from him, he kind of laid over to me. So I was very, very fortunate to learn hands-on from somebody like that. And because if I would pay somebody to teach me the same thing that he taught me, I would be paying out tens and tens and tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars. But I spent so much time with him and his wife. I learned so much,
Yeah.
So I was just very fortunate to I just shut up. I locked in, I paid attention, and I took everything that he was telling me, how to build the brand. First and foremost, build the relationships, build the brand, and
That's
help
it.
people.
The relationships is what
That's it.
matters. It's
Relationships matter. It does not matter dude, to be honest with you, the iPhones don't matter. The iPhones don't matter. My relationship with you, Adam, is going to go a long way. If we
yeah,
make
dude.
it simple, because Adam, I can do a lot for you, Adam, and you could do a lot for me. But just
That's it, man. It's a common thing, right? I know TAP teaches, you need to start building a network, but I think they don't really do a good version of like how, what is networking, right? So like I hear it a lot. A lot of people think networking is, shaking hands and handing business cards out, collecting business cards, kind of never talk to that person again or whatever. And I'm like kind of the exact opposite. It's like, what is networking to me? How did I build this brand? Well, it was a lot of work. First of all, it was a lot of putting myself out there, but I just reached out to people that were interesting to me, and I would send them a 1-minute Loom video like, hey, thanks for connecting with me or commenting on my post. If there's ever anything I can do to help you, please let me know. Happy to have you in my network and happy to be a part of yours. Can't wait to see what I'm going to learn from you. That went so far, man. And what it taught me was that when I would start booking meetings and people would find what I had to say interesting and wanted to have a conversation with me, I would go into those meetings, one, knowing that every single person that I talk to has something that they can teach me, whether I want to be in this call or not, whether I see there's a relevant reason to be in this call or not. But then I started approaching them with like, I don't want anything from anybody other than to just learn about them and their journey and build a relationship with them. And I got really good at it, man. And now it's one of my favorite things to do because building relationships can take you as far as you want to go in life.
No, I'm with you 100%. Everyone gets mad at me because they're like, Logan, you don't hand out business cards when you meet people. I'm like, if they want to get a hold of me, they know where to find me. And I am still 100%. I believe that. And I'm not saying ignore people, but people that really want to be your friend and make time for you, they will make time for you. These people that go out and, like you said, go and hand business cards, let's be honest. I've got hundreds of them handed to me. I just throw them away. I'm not going to look at them. I want them to reach out. I want them to reach out. I want to get to know you. I don't care about what your card says. That means nothing. Just because you're this or that, I want to know you. So
I think kind of my approach, man, and you probably have a similar approach, is just I want to come to whatever meeting or introduction or conversation with so much energy and just as an authentic, decent human being who genuinely wants to help,
That's
that
it.
you don't have a choice but to remember me. You don't need a business card to do that. And I guess I'm doing that. I don't know. I'm not. I don't get to decide that. But like, it would seem that as I'm building this and kind of the voice that I've got now, that is the case, because I get it all the time. You came into the green room before this recording, like, hey, I saw your podcast on an entrepreneurial circles that I run in, and you watched it, and you're like, fuck, I need to talk to this guy, right? Like, that's
Yeah, because
your words, not mine, right?
right,
And so,
right. The more that we're talking, like, brother, we have so much in common, and we like have the same philosophy. I know I'm giving you a hard time about some things, but it's like we have the same kind of mindset on things. It's like it makes sense because why would we not talk together? Why would I not get to know Adam and support Adam and what he's doing and let other people find out about him? I want to support you now. Now that we have
yeah,
this conversation, and I like you as a person, I'm genuinely saying this not because the camera's on, but I like you, Adam. So I want to help you. I think that's what life's all about. You gotta help.
dude.
That's it.
Yeah,
So
because you never know, like, man, this podcast could be the thing that takes your nonprofit and just sends it to the stratosphere, and vice versa, man. Like, when this comes out and you share it with your audience, it introduces the work that I'm doing to more people, which leads to more opportunity for me to have people like you on, which then just kind of amplifies the message that we're doing, right? So it really comes back to the kind of the collaboration aspect of everything. Like, we are human beings. We're meant to be connected to each other, and we're meant to help each other always, all the time, no matter what, right? Like, we're not meant to compete in certain things with each other. I mean, I think there's healthy competition is one thing, sports, et cetera, right? But like, particularly with the work you and I are doing with our own community, our brothers and sisters that served this country, I think we need to eliminate all competition in this space, period. If we would all the veteran creators that exist, from the $1 billion Black Rifle coffee companies to the Peon Strategic Veteran podcast, if we would all come together and just collaborate, I think we could end a lot of the issues that our community faces.
yeah, Adam, I agree with you, but I'll be honest, I don't know if that's going to happen because
It's not.
Let me tell you why, brother. We live in a capitalistic country, and I hate to say it, and this is another point. I mean, you can disagree or agree with me. A lot of people that do these veteran organizations and missions, it looks good, right?
Yeah.
It looks good from the outside in, but what are they really doing? They like the money, they like the notoriety, they love that, Adam. They like making the money. Now, let's be honest, Adam. I've seen it firsthand. If you know what I'm saying,
Dude, and doing this show, man, I've been introduced to a lot of statistics that are kind of alarming, and I'm not going to throw numbers out right now because I can't remember exact numbers, but there's thousands and thousands and thousands of VSOs and nonprofits out there, and only like a very small percentage of them actually do what they say they're going to do.
I
Like,
know.
they actually raise money and put money back into the veteran community, which is, it's disgusting to me. Meanwhile, like, people give me shit all the time, like, you don't have a business or whatever because you refuse to monetize transition and giving your knowledge away. And it's like, that's not the point of this, man. Like, the more and more I think about what I do on this podcast, the more and more I realize, like, it's just as helpful for me. It's just as helpful to keep my head on straight, to have conversations with folks like you. Like, we didn't even have the same service period, yet we have so much in common, and I think that's true across the board. So I don't need to monetize this because this has created opportunity for me to go generate streams of revenue elsewhere, right?
Right.
And so I wish more people would take that approach. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Adam, it's just people are so greedy though.
Greedy. Yeah,
I'm not
greedy. They do.
and like
Money rules their life. They don't look at money as the tool to help them.
tool.
You
It's
know,
all perfectly. It's a tool. If we don't have funding, we can't pay the rent. We can't pay utilities. We can't get new equipment. We got to get new equipment because old stuff's old. I've started this. Stuff needs to get replaced. We need to get new flooring. We want to get veterans their personal training certificates. Well, money's not going to fall out of the sky because if it did, we'd be great. It's just like, but to my point, Adam, like you said, a lot of these NGOs get all this funding and then they just keep it. They don't
yeah,
do anything with it.
line their pockets with it. And I could give you some names of some of these organizations that are doing that, and it would
Well, I could give you
really.
some. but I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it either. You could probably go back through some of these episodes. I've said it a time or two, and my eyes really got opened when I did some volunteer work for a nonprofit to how bad this problem actually is and how cutthroat the veteran nonprofit space actually is. It is so hard to raise money.
These people do not want to collaborate with us. And some people do, but most people don't because they think of it as a prize pool. They're like, "Oh well, if we do that, we can't help you because of money." I'm like, bro, like, aren't you supposed to want to help so we can help more people if it's going to make the programs more efficient for the veteran community? Like, stop being a greedy. You're going to die, man. Like, I tell everybody, Adam, I've lost tens and tens and tens and tens and tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars for expressing two things. Because I am a Christian, my faith, first and foremost, that's important to me. And two, just telling people the reality of the truth. Like, I'm 26, man. Listen, I can walk away scotch-free now and my hands are clean. Like, I don't owe nobody nothing. I don't care. We're here to help. And that's the goal. If you're not going to help, then just get out of the way, man. Like, why are you here?
And the big disconnect is, Logan, is I can't help everybody. Like, first of all, not everybody's going to resonate with, quite frankly, my bluntness. I'm a fucking asshole, right? Like, I don't beat around the bush. I'm just going to tell you how it is because I'm not going to waste my time or your time. Like, I don't want somebody to coddle me either. I want them to tell me the truth. If this show fucking sucks, tell me it fucking sucks so I can make a change and make it better. That's not the feedback I'm getting. I still don't necessarily believe it, but that's me being hard on myself. But I realized in the beginning of all of this, that I'm one person and I have my own unique way of going about trying to make a difference in our community. And I'm going to need help from a lot of other people. And that has served me so well because I know that I can't help everybody. So anybody like yourself, dude, I want you to succeed. I want you to surpass me and just blow up from this. And I'll be so happy because I know that I facilitated you helping more people. And in turn, it'll help me help more people, right? Like, there's zero competition here. And you can't help everybody. I can't help everybody, but together we can help 3 times as many people as we could on our own.
No, I'm with you. It's just all about reach out. I mean, I think, since I'm a younger veteran, I draw in a younger crowd. Believe it or not, hopefully these people find out. I'm like, yo, who's Adam Peters? I'm like, yeah. Go find out about Adam. You know what I'm saying?
And I want people to find out about what you're doing, dude. You're getting vets their personal training certifications. That's fucking amazing, dude.
For free. Like, no strings attached. Like, I'm like, listen, we have money put aside, and this is what I want to do for this. Everything on our website, like, I'm not making this stuff up. I'm like, this is a goal for this year. We literally, like, listen, go fill out this form. Pretty simple. You guys just fill out the form. I can't make you fill out the form. If you fill out the form, you tell me what you guys want. Okay, done. No strings attached. Just fill out the form. I don't just provide down your DD2. What else you need, man? Like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty simple. I don't know.
I love this, man. Logan, dude, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for this amazing conversation and just being an example of, just younger veterans, older veterans. We can come together and we can still help the community. And I deal with this a lot, particularly from the Desert Storm and Vietnam guys, because I am a little bit older in the veteran space or whatever. And they don't get it. I constantly get pushback from them. So I appreciate this conversation probably more than I'm expressing here, man. And I'm really grateful you reached out and booked some time to do this. I want you to drop all your socials. How can people take advantage of what you're doing with your business and the nonprofit and all of that? How can they reach out to you for mentorship and guidance? Because contrary to popular belief, if you're listening or watching this, age is nothing when it comes to, I've got in fact, Kobe Wecker is one of the biggest mentors I've had on this journey of building this brand. And he is probably closer to your age than he is my age, much younger than I am. And since day one has had my back, and I've learned so much from him. Just proof that mentorship comes from all walks of life, ages, race, creed, color. It doesn't matter. You can find mentors out there, and I think you're going to be an excellent mentor, man. And I want people to find you and reach out to you and grow with you. So how can they find you, brother?
Yeah, so if you guys want veterans, first of all, veterans in the South Central PA area, we do have a brick and mortar location, like I prefaced to Adam earlier. Come to our facility, come get the free workouts, all that stuff, meal plan, nutrition plan, personal training, all that stuff for free, no strings attached. If you can't, we have a hybrid program as well. We can send programs to you from professionals. Everybody is credentialed social and certified. Like, these people, we're not idiots. I'm just being honest. We're good at what we do. Like, the fitness industry, we're good at this. I can vouch for that. So hit us up for that. And if you want to find us at Boost to Health Foundation on all socials, connect with us. We'd love to connect with you guys, answer any questions you may have, and just, continue to serve as veterans. That's really it. So,
dude, I love it, brother. Final thing, man. Sum up for me what you want people to take away from our conversation here today. Just one or two sentences. Just what do you want them to get out of this conversation?
For me and Adam speaking, I'm going to speak for the both of us because I feel like I can on this. It doesn't matter where you start. It matters where you finish. That's it.
I love it, brother. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Logan, please reach out to him. Take advantage of the programs he's setting up. Like, rate, review, share, subscribe, download this thing. Help me make this podcast what it should be, as I've been told lately. And we'll see you guys next week with another awesome episode with another incredible veteran. Take care, everybody. That's our show, and I'm truly thankful you've joined us at the Strategic Veteran. If our conversation today sparked curiosity, or if you're ready to elevate your game, I'm here to help. Visit thestrategicveteran.com for exclusive show notes and resources, or to book a coaching session directly with me. Take a moment to subscribe to our podcast and share your review. Your support makes all the difference. For more insights and daily strategies, let's connect on LinkedIn and keep the conversation going. Remember, this isn't just a podcast, it's your strategic advantage in action. Until our next rendezvous, stay bold and continue the mission.